Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. And today we have this amazing news. It's finally here. Donald Trump is back in office. He has finally returned to the White House. And we're going to have a look at what his first few days, if not his first 24 hours, are going to look like. And hopefully he can get back control of the US after the last 4 years of Joe Biden screwing the pooch, letting over 20 million illegal immigrants into the country, mass amounts of drug crime, mass amounts of crime in general, murders, assassination attempts on the current president, and just an absolute shit show over the last 4 years of screamingly high inflation across the world. Whether or not that is going to be able to be reined in by Donald Trump, we will see. But I don't know about you, but I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad that the rest of the world seems to be capitulating to Donald Trump. I mean, before he's even stepped into office, he has negotiated or helped negotiate a ceasefire deal between Palestine and Israel, which is absolutely unheard of, and people are, rather dubious of whether it was going to stop or not before Israel pushed the rest of the Palestinians into the sea or bombed them all into ash. I don't know what their plan was there, but Donald Trump has stopped the fighting. He has brought in a ceasefire there with some sort of negotiations. And I think just having the imposing figure that he is, and everyone knowing that he's going to be back in office very shortly, people seem to be buttoning up their shirts and, you know, pulling their heads out of their ass, really. I mean, even the Australian politics have started a boot licking, and I don't know whether it's got to do with money or they're just actually shit scared of the man, but it's a good thing. Either way, the world seems to be slowly teetering back from the brink of World War III, and hopefully Donald Trump can stop the conflict in Ukraine as well. Whether Ukraine's going to be happy about that, they seem to be wanting to negotiate a deal now, which is another, feather in his cap. Biden couldn't even bother to talk to Putin about what he wanted or how to stop this conflict, any of that. But Donald Trump has a lot of other things to do. He's got a lot of other things on his plate. Top of the list would be stopping and deporting the 20 million illegal migrants into the country, or illegal immigrants into the country. Things like that. And then, finding out who tried to kill him, because we still do not know what the hell the go was with any of those assassination attempts. There was more than two, and we still do not know what was going on with Crooks and the other guy at the golf course. It's very, very redacted information that we have been getting from anyone in the CIA or FBI, sorry. And no one really knows what happened or why they wanted to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, they were trying to kill Donald Trump. That seems to be very obvious. But we'd like to know if they had any help, if there were any external partners, say like Iran or Ukraine or things like that nature. But hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that. And he has made a list of things that he wanted to do on his first day. He's said that he was going to be a dictator on his first day back so he could drill, baby, drill. Hopefully get America back under their own power again with running the pretty much every single resource they can, starting fracking again, opening up oil rigs, helping America power itself and cutting through a lot of the red tape. But we're going to get into the story here from Financial Times. I'm not too sure whether these guys are left-wing, right-wing biased, but I'm going to say Financial Times might just be a left-wing bias just purely because everything else is on the internet. But we'll get into this story here. Donald J. Trump plans blitz of executive orders for the first day in the White House. Incoming president expected to issue orders on deportation, tariffs, and cuts to regulation. Donald Trump and his top advisors are finalizing 100 executive actions that he will sign on his first day of office, beginning Monday as the incoming president rushes to enact his populist nationalist agenda. The first measures by Trump, who vowed to be a dictator on day one of his second term, are set to include curbing immigration, increasing tariffs, and deregulating sectors ranging from energy to cryptocurrencies. Now, cryptocurrency is going to be very interesting to see how that goes. I won't give you financial advice, but I am going to be buying more crypto now. If he's going to be pointing a crypto czar and hopefully buying a lot of crypto, and propping up that what would you call it, industry, prices are going to go up. That's the only thing that can happen. If the US spends a couple of $1 billion in crypto, or a couple of $100 billion, that's only ever going to increase the profit for people who've already got that, whether it's Bitcoin, Ripple, or Doge. I mean, it's looking up for crypto. Trump and his team aim to immediately reset US policy and start fulfilling some of the huge promises to change made American voters during the campaign, when vowed to reverse many of Joe Biden's actions. Their intent is to do shock and awe so that their opponents' heads are spinning, said Stephen Miro, managing partner of Beacon Policy Advisors, a consultancy and former George W. Bush administration official. They've spent the last 4 years day in, day out preparing for Monday, and they have had teams of lawyers thinking through how they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. Trump's first steps will serve as a test of how far he believes he can act unilaterally with the Congress, given his view that US presidents should have wide-ranging authorities compared with other branches of government. Now, Donald Trump's first term was marred by the Democrats and a lot of Republicans blocking him at every single turn. So hopefully there's a bit more cooperation with them this time. I mean, because the amount of Americans that voted for him was just so overwhelmingly that they have a mandate. The public want Donald Trump in office to enact these steps, and the majority of the public want Donald Trump in office. And he won the popular vote, so they have no foot to stand on when it comes to opposing him in a lot of these things. I mean, I'm sure we'll get the usual Democrat opposing everything he ever does, and bar a few of them maybe. But the Republicans should really be on board this time, because they know if they step out of line and they don't toe the line with Donald Trump's agenda, MAGA agenda, then they are going to be on the out. And like last time some of them are pariahs now, the Republicans, because they literally they're rhinos. They just want to do what benefits them. They don't really care. They just want to be, worrying about their own elections. And they stabbed Donald Trump in the back. A lot of them last time. They cut his throat every chance they had. And hopefully this time those people are ousted. Those people are, kept on the out, and he can get some work done. Details of the first blitz of his executive actions are still under wraps at the weekend, but Trump and his top officials have already signaled that their priorities will be: incoming president wants to make a national emergency declaration regarding the southern border, free up federal resources to detain migrants crossing from Mexico, limit the ability to seek asylum, and launch what he has described as the largest deportation effort in US history. Now, that's going to take a lot of money. That's going to take a lot of manpower. That's going to take a long time. So people are thinking that day two, there's going to be 2 million, 10 million, 20 million less illegal migrants in the country. That's just not going to happen. Although a lot of people are going to self-deport, because they are not going to want to be torn apart from their families. Because, so to say, that's how it happens. If you break into a country, and which is a criminal act, and you hide away and they find you and they try to deport you, sometimes the family's going to be broken up. I mean, they will keep the children with the parents and all that. But a lot of these people are going to be shipped back to where they came from, kicking and screaming. And some of them are going to go home at their own accord, because they just don't want the hassle. They know that, they're going to be fleeing these places. There's already stories saying that they're fleeing places like New York because they know that they're an easy target there, because everyone knows where they are. It's, the government's giving them housing, accommodation, whatever you want to call it, and money and food and everything they need to live a life. And that's going to be the first place that the ICE people come looking, is those places where they definitely are. And it's going to be hard to find someone who's living on their own, or doing their own thing and living off the grid a little bit. But when you're sitting there taking government assistance and showing up every day for your paycheck, or showing up every day to go to stay in the hotel that the government's given you, you're going to be pretty easy to find. So those people are going to start fleeing at least those areas first. Maybe some of them just go screw it and go home. But Donald Trump's going to have a hell of a time on his hands actually getting rid of those illegal immigrants. But the first ones that need to be deported are the criminal ones that are raping, killing, and dealing drugs and things like that. Those people shouldn't be in the country in the first place. Whether or not they should be jailed in America after they've been convicted of a crime first and then deported, I don't know how they want to do that. But yeah, they're going to be the top people on the list. They'll be the first ones to go. Actions from Trump on trade are also expected early next week. Could financial markets? Trump wants to force US trading partners to cut deals on issues ranging from migration to drug trafficking and even the scale of Greenland. He has vowed to slap broad levies on imports to encourage companies more to manufacture more in the US and raise revenue of the US government. In recent weeks, Trump's advisors have looked at options that include gradual introduction of tariffs by hitting particular critical sectors, including industries related to energy and defense, according to people familiar with the discussions, but others, including his former incoming White House Trade and Manufacturing Counselor, Peter Navarro, are advocating for high tariff to be applied to on all US imports from day one. Now, imports, he talks a big game with imports, whether or not he goes and imposes a lot of, tariffs, whether he goes and imposes a lot of tariffs on people, or he just, uses that as a bravado and just a scare tactic to make sure that these people stop undercutting the US and that, America comes first in many of these cases now. That's probably where it's going to end up. I'd say he will put tariffs on some people, say like China, places like that. But whether or not he does really, kick Canada's ass with tariffs or not, it's remained to be seen. But it could just be a lot of bravado to get them to the negotiating table, because they know that he will do things like that. He will, cut off his own nose to spite his face in a lot of these cases. But, that is a bargaining tactic. That's Donald Trump's entire personality. He's out to make a deal. He's the deal guy. So that's probably just a lot of talk from him and to scare these people into, bending the knee and coming to the table where they can get a fair deal. Because he's not looking at to screw countries over. He's looking at to get a fair deal for the United States. I mean, fair deals would include things like maybe not sending hundreds of millions of dollars overseas to fund Al-Qaeda and people like that, and then those people blowing up your own citizens. Maybe that'd be a fair deal. So maybe there's things like that he needs to look at and cut back on spending like that. That'd be a great thing to do on his first day, but that's a CIA, and, places like that generally don't like their funding to be cut, but we'll see where that goes. Trump could use the international emergency economics power to act quickly, apply tariffs, and his staff are also exploring the existing Section 232. Authorities say swiftly boost levies on steel and aluminium imports. According to people familiar with the talks, Republicans on Capitol Hill, who traditionally have opposed tariffs, are already preemptively defending Trump's opening moves. I think that you'll see in countries coming to the table, a Republican member of Congress said, I think it's going to be more effective than you think, and it will actually be increasing the prices. On foreign policy, Trump's main concern in the first day and the second term will probably be implementation of a ceasefire deal, which is reached between Israel and Hamas to pause the wars in Gaza last week. But analysts say there could be executive orders and efforts to impose new sanctions on Iran and tougher enforcement of those already on the books as part of his goal to impose maximum pressure on the Tehran regime. Trump's team is also figuring out how to deal with the transitional government in Syria, led by one-time Al-Qaeda affiliate Hayat Tahrir al-Assam. Some US allies could see Washington lift the terror designation on Syria, as well as the group, but Trump's team is worried about doing it too quickly. On the campaign trail, Trump has pledged to end fighting between Russia and Ukraine on his first day in office, but he has more recently said the hopes to resolve this in the first 6 months. In short term, Trump will have funds from his first year in Congress to continue supplying Ukraine with weapons, but it's unlikely he will pass another package on once these are used up. So that's going to be putting a lot of pressure on Ukraine and Zelensky. And I think where the borders lie now, that'll be the new borders from now on. Putin's already got what he wants from there. He's literally just defending the land that he wants to keep. I don't think he's going to really push any further unless there's some sort of mass push on the border. That would have happened before Trump was in the office and back in office, and that has not happened. They've been holding their ground. I mean, Russia's really taken a beating in this war, but Ukraine has lost so many people, and it's insane. It's like 15,000 people aside are dying a day or something like that over there. I don't think people quite comprehend what war is. If you go and spend a little bit of time on some forums or on X and see what war really looks like over there, it's terrifying. I mean, imagine hiding in a hole in the middle of the woods, having a drone flying around looking for you, and you know that drone is going to kill you if it finds you. That's kind of terrifying. And Trump is going to try to put an end to that. Whether it looks like it's going to be, I think it'll just be Putin keeps what he's got. They start putting oil back through to Europe, things like that, after the pipelines have been blown up and shut off. There's going to be a deal there, and Ukraine is just going to have to suck it up, I think. I mean, they're going to have to rebuild their entire country, which is going to, BlackRock's already got their finger in there. China's probably looking at them as well, things like that. It's going to be a lot of infighting with politics and businesses and things like that in Ukraine over the next coming years, just trying to get some money. Basically, companies going in there are promising to rebuild the country, just looking for a bit of cash, and I believe that's what Ukraine's going to be for the next however long, until World War III kicks off anyway, and someone drops a nuke when they shouldn't. Trump has also said he plans to speak to Vladimir Putin. While Russian president has expressed interest in meeting him, other world leaders are expected to begin flocking to Washington and try to begin new relationships on the right track. See, now, the Australian Prime Minister is an absolute fucking buffoon who can't even speak right. The lispy little fag needs to be kicked out of office, for one. But we have got an election coming up shortly, this year sometime anyway. We don't know when yet. But hopefully we put someone in power who has a brain, not this lispy moron and not that bald-headed totalitarian dictator of the opposition party. You know which one I'm talking about. I mean, we've got to take the mandate. The Americans said that they want freedom. They want a right-wing government who's going to take care of Americans first. And I think that's what Australians need to wake up to and do before it's too late. We're importing too many people into this country. We're exporting too much stuff where we can't afford to feed our own families. The prices are exceedingly high. Mortgages have gone through the roof. No one can afford to buy a house. We're giving money to places like Ukraine. We're handing over all of our military tanks to Ukraine. And Australia's sitting here with our cock in our hand doing nothing. I mean, the Australian people need to wake the fuck up and realise that voting in the same two parties every single time has got us to where we are now, and none of them are going to fix it. They lie, cheat, steal, lie. They buddy up with the unions, who lie, cheat, steal, lie, and steal your money. It's the same thing. Both parties are the same, just cut from the same cloth. It's about time we need a third party, whether it's One Nation or something along those lines. I mean, if they all started a coalition together, shut down all their individual little parties and each, started something together, it might actually knock one of the two off the top. Trump is expected to make early moves to help the US oil and gas industry, part of his promise to usher in a new era of American energy dominance. Among his day one executive orders, he has vowed to direct federal government to slash red tape and end all Biden restrictions on energy production. He is set to order the immediate restart of licenses of multi-billion-dollar liquefied natural gas export terminals. The suspension of new permits by Biden a year ago has been a particular bone of contention for executives keen to increase LNG shipments. Biden administration rules that crack down on the vehicle tailpipe emissions, busted by Trump as an insane electric vehicle mandate, are anticipated to make the incoming president's day one hit list, but it also expected a directive to reopen protected lands in Alaska to drilling. He's going for maximum shock value, said Miro. And he should. He needs to. He needs to come in swinging and do as much damage as he can in his first few days, because he doesn't have 4 years like everyone says. It's going to be 12 to 18 months maybe. And there's going to be a lot of muddy trench warfare politically with a lot of things he's doing. I mean, the Democrats still have quite a lot of power. There is still a lot of, Democrats out there trying to kill Donald Trump. So he's going to have to be very careful. He's got, a crosshairs on his back and, his head as well, or his ear at least. But he's going to have to come in swinging, and he is going to have to be a dictator day one. He will have to actually just sit there all day and sign executive orders. I'm sure they've got a stack of them ready and raring to go. But what do you guys think is going to happen anyway? Do you think this is good for Australia? Do you think this is good for America? I think it's fantastic for the whole world, basically. And, I mean, we've seen it already. It's, a ceasefire in Gaza negotiated by Donald Trump before he was even in office. And countries already kowtowing to him before he's even stepped foot back into the White House. I think, a little bit of stability, whether it's, whether the Democrats want it or not, or left-wing people want him or not, because he says some mean things sometimes, and he, talks a bit of shit. I see that as not very negative compared to World War III with Biden, and what we would have had Kamala Harris in office, and can you imagine the shit show that would have been? Day one, she would have fucking nuke someone or something. I don't think she has the mental capacity to do that. But you can imagine the shit fight that would have started if Kamala got in. I mean, we dodged a bullet. The entire world dodged a bullet. There was two trajectories of the world right at that point. And one went off into a very dark place where I believe it was going to be a lot of George Orwellian 1984 style dictatorships in our Western countries. I mean, look at England. America was going down that path. Australia is right there. And I'm hoping having someone like Donald Trump in office there, it might make our politicians rethink things like the misinformation, disinformation bill. I mean, banning TikTok. Donald Trump has just reinstated TikTok as well his first day back in, or before he was even really in. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think the CCP is very subversive and shows you a lot of shit that you should not be seeing on TikTok. And they are exceedingly censorious. Every single comment I post on TikTok gets removed, violated terms, blah, 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 you name it. Every single video I put out gets flagged as something's wrong with it, and they can't tell me what's wrong with it. Then I appeal it, and then it goes back up, and then it gets no views because it's very, very censorious. It's very left-wing, and they only want you to promote what they want. And once you're on the blacklist like I am, whether you've been banned or not, a lot of right-wingers have been banned on there, you're screwed. There's no getting out of the algorithm and going viral. There's no getting your message out because they know who you are and they keep you in a little tiny bubble, and that's all you're allowed to do. You're not a threat to them when you're inside your bubble. If they divest and American companies buy them, depending on who buys them, obviously. But I mean, even if it was Meta or something like that, Mark Zuckerberg has kind of capitulated and started kissing Donald Trump's ass again. I don't trust him for a fucking second, but if he's going to start making moves and doing good things, then I will, hats off to him when he does that. But if he just says it and doesn't do anything, then, well, he hasn't changed, has he? But, I think things are moving in a positive way. I think things are looking up, and hopefully our politicians here in Australia and across the world follow suit and choose freedom and, don't try to lock people up for saying things online that they don't like, or banning things or taxing us into oblivion like they do here in Australia. Whether or not he invades Canada, Panama, and Greenland is yet to be seen. We all know that a lot of people can't take a joke on those matters, but Greenland looks like they do want to be part of the US. I mean, that'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting. He might piss off the Dutch, but no one likes the Dutch anyway, do they? I don't know. What do you guys reckon anyway? Don't forget to like the video, share the video, and leave a comment down below. Argue in the comments if you like. I don't really care. I will argue with you because I get bored sometimes. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.